Yo, what's good, beautiful people? It's your boy Emmanuel, aka Papi. Welcome back again to the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do that right now. Okay, we do a bunch of countdowns, music news on this channel, and also follow my reaction channel, Papi. Finally, we're getting to the top 50 albums of 2021. Now, this is one of my favorite videos to do across all forms of content that I make, man. This is where I get to sit down and just ramble about my favorite albums that really help document my year. Of course, it wasn't easy. This was a shortlist from like 115 or so albums down to 50. Obviously, there's gonna be many that fall through the cracks and not make it here. Not to say that they're not good albums, but it was just the sheer volume of albums that came out this year. This is my short list of 50 of them. Okay, I've done my honorable mentions. If you haven't seen that video yet, definitely go tap into that. But yes, we're about to get into my top 50, and real quick, my criteria is pretty easy. If you follow my channel, you pretty much know how I look at albums. Pretty much do not care about the cultural impact of the albums. The list is strictly down to my preference, so don't be shocked if you see one album that popped sitting down below one that was probably slept on. Strictly down to the material, the overarching theme and statement that the album is making for the artist. Is it engaging? Can I listen to the album in one sitting? The production, the songwriting, the execution of the ideas on the album. Those are what I'm looking at, and of course EPs are in the conversation. The lines between EPs and albums keep getting blurry as time passes, so EPs will definitely be in the conversation. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. At number 50, I have YKB Before I Blow. Now, for those of you that might not know, YKB is an emerging artist that has been on my radar since I think 2020 when he was on the Nigerian album. But right now, this is his debut project, Before I Blow, and it's in the name. It's really like so self-aware and actually documenting a point in his career to show that like this is what I'm aspiring to, this is what I want out of my career, and it's actually a very honest, very self-aware project. It has enjoyable Afro R&B moments, and he is one of those guys that is cut right from the cloth of a Wani influence, so you expect great vocals, amazing harmonies, really creative songwriting directions here, and I really enjoyed it. One of my favorite tracks on that is One Day. At number 49, I have Joeboy, Somewhere Between Beauty and Magic. This was his debut album. If you haven't seen my review on my Papi channel, definitely go check it out. And this was an album that obviously is for many people that I think this is an album that somewhat is one of the big name acts. Okay, so why is this low on my list? This definitely is a clean album, but for the life of me, it's so disengaging. It's really tough to go through this album in one sitting. And this was also an album that really begged for features to help make it more dynamic, and it really was a difficult listen, but nonetheless it had great cuts. He had Runaway, which is one of my favorite songs this year, and he had Focus as well. Definitely dope cuts on the album, but as an album overall, as a holistic view, this album lacked the theme. It lacked the unified statement for him, and it just felt like a compilation of attempted pop songs. I'm wondering which other pop act had the same approach for their albums. Alright. At 48, I have Edo West with the Mafia Culture 2.0. This is one of my favorite street rap albums. Edo West is an artist that definitely needs to be checked out. I love the great production here, the choices that he went for, from drill to like raw trap beats to, and still evoking a lot of his Fuji influences. You know what I mean? That street energy is very evident here. One of my favorite tracks, A New Level. And I just like the confidence and braggadocio on many of these tracks here. At 47, another rap album. This one is Loose Cannon with Survivor's Remorse. Definitely one of the most mature Loose Cannon projects. With this album, you can tell that Loose Cannon was in a time of his career where he didn't really feel like it was challenging or trying to evoke that he's one of the finest rappers in the country. Nah, it just felt like, let me just spit some game and give a lot of the lessons that I've learned throughout this career, a lot of the ills he witnesses in the industry, in society, in brotherhood, and I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this album. At number 46, I have Azanti with his debut solo project. Okay, this is Azanti with a self-titled Azanti project, man. I really like this album. On this album, it has a very strong R&B foundation. Then evokes a lot of Afro influence, a lot of trap influences here and there. And I loved the song Laton. I love Time Difference. They're definitely brilliant moments. Clean production. I really enjoyed the songwriting and the boldness that you could expect from these really young acts that you have to pay attention to. I really enjoyed this album. 45, I have Afrobeat Dynasty, Femi Kuti and Made Kuti with Legacy Plus. Now nominated for a Grammy. This album definitely documented Femi passing the torch to Made on his debut album on this one, and this is filled with a lot of the orchestral Fela moments, and filled with funk, filled with jazz, filled with the same sentiments that Fela upholds to, which is about social justice. And this was also Made making a very progressive and audacious depiction of Fela's identity sonically. A lot of the very risky and abstract directions he took there creatively was very well applauded, and I really enjoyed the album. Go check out my review if you haven't. At number 44, Mohbad with Light EP. Absolutely love this album. Very sentimental cuts here. This was an album that came late last year, late 2020, but really kicked into 2021 for me, and really did well for Mohbad. Mohbad had a fantastic year, and this album was another part of that for me. I still go back to songs like Sorry, Holy, Father Abraham. Amazing cuts, man. This was a dope EP. Number 43, I have an Afro dancehall attempt by Tomi Thomas with Hopeless Romantic. This was one of the finest, the most the most refined Afro dancehall project that came out of Nigeria. Tomi Thomas, independent, very bold, very confident, sounded really confident on this project. They also had the reggae and dancehall legend Buju Banton on this to show how authentic he was trying to go for this album, and I really enjoyed the track itself, the self-titled track Hopeless Romantic, and again is dope as well. At number 42, I have WeTalkSound with LOFN 4, a collection of love stories. This is one of my favorite compilation albums easily. This is the 4th installment of an album series that aims at documenting and showcasing a lot of the emerging acts in the year from the staples of one of the largest music communities in Nigeria. This was easily the best attempt yet. I go back to songs like Falling by Omotayo, Like by Nu and KVY. This was a dope project, man. Vivian, Tiwadara, so many interesting and really talented acts that are on this album. You should definitely go check it out if you haven't. I also have my review on it on this channel. At number 41, I'm going to Ghana with one of my favorite rappers, period. Okay, one of my favorite rappers, period. This is M3nsa, one half of fucking boys. Okay? And Bondzie is an album that very well cuts into the vein of M3nsa as a rapper. He's a producer as well, so a lot of it is very orchestral or Kanye West-esque, because he's experimenting on so many productions, and a lot of the sentiment, a lot of the subject matter is tied to basically everything anti-social norms. He is a contrarian in his ideology, and you can see him tackle things like the patriarchy, things like institutionalized religion. He's also tackling Ghanaian politics on this. Addressing the music industry, and it's one of my most enjoyable albums this year, man. At number 40, another rap album that really hit a soft spot. This came very late into the year, but this was a strong body of work. I think his best work yet. This is Alpha Ogini with Tears Are Salty for a Reason. Open book. Alpha is an open book on this. Very honest album. And the production and the songwriting, the storytelling. This man is a genius when it comes to that. One of my favorite storytellers in the Nigerian hip-hop scene. And I really enjoy this album. Odeshi is a track. Man, so real, so raw, so authentic, really in your face. He's not hiding too much away from you. And he's pretty much an open book on this. And I really enjoy this album. At number 39, I have Ladipo with Providence. Okay, now Ladipo is having a fantastic year in terms of commercial success for a rapper in Nigeria, which says a lot. This album was aimed at luring his commercial fan base into his hip-hop roots, and it really did that. And it was a fine balance here. We're having dope dope cuts and features from Rema and Fireboy, which are primed to be the future of Afrobeats. Ladipo as a rapper himself, very 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 fine moments like the intro and Law of Attraction. Dope cuts out of this, man. I really enjoyed this album. At number 38, I have Wani with Lagos City Vibes 2. Easily Wani's best project yet. So cohesive, very clean project. Strong moments like Grown Girl, Faji, Smoke Out the Window, very heavy on the vibes. This is an album I usually have in the background, probably when I'm cleaning my apartment. I'm also super intentional on a song like God Bless the Child, man. This was an album that very well showed Wani as a project artist, because this was a follow-up to a series that has gone down as a cult classic, and I would love to see a trilogy out of this one, man. I'm looking forward to the next project. At number 37, I have Kiddo me not. Yes. Anyway, Kiddo went with Too Late Too Lit as an EP. This is a producer and singer. So he definitely refined a lot of his singing chops. Heavy on the Amapiano influences, because he's an artist, he's a producer that operates in the South African scene, and this is definitely one that documented that very well. Dope cuts with Davido on Bima, amazing, like one of my favorite Mayokun moments last year, with the local feature, and obviously E-Wallets, man, like proper jams. This was a vibing moment, and I love the cut with Caveman as well. Very cohesive, nice sequencing on the album, and I really enjoyed this one, man. Too Late Too Lit. At number 36, I have another EP. This was Oxlade, and this felt like a Lucy for Oxlade. It felt like it wasn't really taking so much into this, but damn near had one of the most enjoyable projects this year for me. Oxlade with Eclipse, 4-pack, straight up the gate, just bangers. Very clean project. It left me wanting more for sure. It's probably too short. And this was also executively produced by DJ Kublon. Their chemistry here was very evident, and I'm looking forward to more work from both of them, and it's very strong project. At number 35, I have King Perry, okay? Iberi Papa, number 1 prodigy, okay? This was King Perry with Citizen of the World. This came very early in the year, and for an artist that came on the scene probably around 2016, 2017, 2018, this was so long awaited, man. Regardless of how lengthy it was super engaging and dynamic. I really enjoyed tracks like Yawa, and of course, you know the fucking vibe with Psycho YP. At number 34, I have Ricardo Banks with OTR Volume 2. Now, this was a follow-up to, I think, OTR came out 2020 or so. Kind of went under the radar. This was probably one of those moments that Ricardo Banks was still trying to get on his feet. But on this Volume 2 attempt, immediately bagging a monster hit with Ozumba, and by the way, having strong and energetic Amapiano influences with Lupita Nyong'o, and just dope R&B and like vibey cuts with Selection and Pulling Up. Really clean 5-pack EP, and I really enjoyed this one, man. At number 33, I'm taking it to an R&B cut, Te Iwa with Love and Isolation. Very raw, very clean. Definitely one of my best R&B moments. It's not even trying to appease to the pop masses, which you can find admirable. This is still very well in his identity. He's still catering to his fan base that he has built over the years, and I really like that he's really like went out with the collaboration and getting a legend like Asha on a song like Yoga. And I really enjoyed the production here as well. Like very clean vocals, very raw, very rich R&B moments here, and I really enjoyed it, man. At number 32, I have Prettyboy DO with Love Is War. Now this album plays out like a freaking movie, man. It plays out like a movie. It's so like, you know what I mean, like just from the theme, just from how the transitions were and how it was sequenced. This was Prettyboy DO finding a very creative way of building a bridge between love and romantic sentiments, or even like relationship troubles, and connecting that to fighting the politics and the powers that be, and just how he made that as a metaphor that love is war. And it's very brilliant how he did that. 31, another very late one that came into the year. This was Kizz Daniel with Barnabas. This was an album that at first listen I thought this was probably the weakest approach that Kizz Daniel had taken with his creativity. This was not the Kizz that I'd been appeased to before. Not that I saw it as a terrible project, but for some reason I went back to this cut, and since then it's been growing. At number 30, I'm going back to my hip hop bags. Psycho YP with Euphoria. Definitely enjoyed this one from Psycho YP. Again, this was him in his going back to his raw hip hop fashion and trap fashion. Regardless of all the numerous features he has had in the year, he came back and collaborated with many of the guys in the scene, in the trap scene, and continually positioning himself as the face of Nigerian trap. 29, I have Shay with Big Girl. This album that came very late into the year, man, and I was blown away by this album. Shay is reminding us in this album how talented she is as an R&B vocalist. You can definitely see that here on this album. This album's theme is to position and show herself how mature she is, and trust me, the mature content is really evident here. Okay, the song Ride For You with Wani banger. Okay, intense record, and I really love the range of styles that she went for: reggae, R&B, and Afro-pop-ish. Definitely good dynamic moments here, and I really enjoyed it from Shay. At number 38, I have Zlatan with Ria Sean. After listening to Zlatan's last project, if you told me that he's gonna come back with a more intentional body of work, much more collaborative, showing his range, showing diversity, and I'm somehow sequencing and putting out everything well together, I would have laughed you out of the room, man. Zlatan, make a decent project? Nah. I had my expectations really low on this one, but going into it, I really enjoyed where Zlatan went with this project. It showed a lot of the rap cuts, himself as a rapper, still carrying a lot of this identity. A few low moments on this, I won't lie, but nonetheless, this was definitely miles ahead of what we've seen from him, and it has to be one of the best showcases for Nigerian rap as well. At number 27, I have Ayra Starr with her debut project, Ayra Starr. This was a very great introduction into what has blossomed into a fantastic career for her, right? Ayra Starr, the EP, had dope cuts like Sorry. It had a way on this that ended up doing very well on the charts. Great productions on this. Really showed her talent as a vocalist, and I really enjoyed this project, man. Go check out my review if you haven't. Tiwa Savage, okay, Tiwa Savage with Water and Gary EP. Very audacious EP, man. This was an EP that you can see her experiment so much. At number 25, another dope R&B cut, man. This was Soulless, okay, with Stairway to Heaven. If you don't know Soulless, she's definitely one of my favorite voices. Okay, one of my favorite voices on the scene. She definitely has such a angelic, airy, soothing voice, man, and she kind of has the boldness and audacity of say FKA Twigs and Amore, you know what I mean? So those risk takers, and I really like that about her on this project. One of my favorite joints would be Angel and Abeg. Dope moments from that, sweet melodies, and you really abstract and really cutting against the grain you would expect from a Nigerian project. And I really enjoyed this as an art piece, okay? Speaking of Soulless, look what I did there. At number 24, I have Ajebo Hustlers with Kpos Lifestyle Volume 1. I really appreciate the fact that they dropped a project right after the streak of Barawo and Pronto with Omale. Then they made a body of work that really typed into their PH identity, straight up with the Lamba, having romantic songs, very creative, very so down to earth and obscene lines, man. These are some of the sweetest melodies and creative writing that I witnessed this year, and I really enjoyed it, man. At number 23, I have a new fresh artist that I got to know through this project. I have Zamora with Storms and Rainbows. Zamora, I would describe his music as street orchestra. Now, this project introduced me to Zamora, and I have grown to love and being a fan of this guy. He definitely knows how to pay attention to song arrangements. Okay, he has a very strong and commanding voice. I love a lot of his inflections and a lot of the passion that he puts behind the songs. Yeah, the song is filled up with a lot of emotions, backed up with really sweet chord progressions that really pull your heartstrings. Introduces background vocals, super creative with the song arrangement. Credit to the amazing executive producer Duni on this one. I really love both of them and the chemistry that they have from singers for singer and producer. I really enjoyed this one, and how she supported him on many moments with the backup vocals too was great, man. Johnny Drille with Before We Fall Asleep. Now this was kind of underwhelming for Johnny Drille, but underwhelming for Johnny Drille is still miles ahead of many. Okay, still very like enjoyable. It definitely took a different direction as opposed to what you've seen for a lot of his come up, a lot of the country, a lot of the Western pop leaning, but I think he really stressed himself out here and made some quote unquote commercial friendly leaning music, like Nigerian commercial friendly and even Western pop like friendly kind of directions here. But it's an album that has a theme, it has a voice for the artist, and definitely documents his album journey. This is his debut album, and I just saw this as one of the best engineered projects, period. Okay, song engineering on the technicality of the music here, probably one of the most brilliant moments from a Nigerian album, and I really enjoy this, man. 21, I have a Bongie and Starr with freaking Sweetness EP, man. But on this collaboration project, you kind of see a very well-renowned producer that has operated for the most part in the commercial space and bringing a very alternative and fringe artist, and both their worlds collided in a way on this project and stretched both artist and producer on this project. You can see Starr tackle a lot of 80s themed aesthetics on this, kind of made you feel like it was a weekend kind of direction on this. But I definitely enjoy this project. At number 20, we're getting close. At number 20, we have Kiddy with The Golden Boy, quintessential Afropop album right here. Quintessential Afropop album. Definitely a follow-up from his Blue EP last year or the year before. I really enjoyed a lot of the songwriting and how creative it was. This was an album that really tapped into his creativity. Very dynamic, very unpredictable. You can see him feel free and very like charismatic on many of the features. Strong melodies, super strong melodies. He's a genius when it comes to melodies, and I really enjoy what he did on this project. Touch It is a big hit now, and one of the prides and joy of the Ghana music scene. I really enjoy this, man. Kiddy, The Golden Boy, really like Afropop album, man. This is how you do it. At number 19, I have Tenny with Wonderland, a debut project. Now this was an album that had one of the best rollouts. I've said it time and time again. One of the best rollouts. Really created a universe out of this album. The album on paper had every reason to be one of the most talked about albums, but for some reason it wasn't. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed the cuts from here. Hustle, Moslado, bro, and even the records dedicated to her dad. Really got to know Tenny as a person on this. Really saw her ideology and saw her have fun as well, and all in the same theme and aesthetic of the album, and I really liked it, man. At number 18, I have to give credit to Tems. Okay, Tems with If Orange Was a Place. Dope R&B cut. Dope R&B. Like, she got way better for me on production. Okay, now this is an album that I still have to put out my review completely for me to actually like give you why I actually enjoy this album more than the first one. For Broken Ears, you can definitely see her mature as an artist, as a songwriter, as a vocalist too, man. You can definitely see the progression that she has on this project. At number 17, I have Liya with Alari. This was a project that it took me so long to even get time to listen to it properly. But man, very theatrical how a vocal presence is and how the production even marries with it. You can hear a lot of Yoruba vocal influence behind her voice. Her voice is very strong, very commanding. Feels like an orchestra, very dramatic how she inflects throughout many cuts, man. And you're like, man, just really unique. She definitely started with this project, man, having a very unique direction. Obviously because of a very unique voice. It really felt like she had an encounter with the ancestors before recording this project, man. At number 16, Finest, one of the rawest Afro dancehall projects that we have. Young Girl with Yardman King Size, Strong. This came very early in the year. This was a project that really showed Young Girl as one of the most sought out Afro dancehall artists in the Nigerian scene. Really authentic with his deliveries here and his patois too, man. We really sounded like this man grew up in Kingston, Jamaica or something, man. And easily one of the hardest intros that I've heard all year, man. Honestly. fire album, man. Go check it out if you haven't. If you're a fan of dancehall, this is definitely an album you need to tap to. 15, an alternative king himself, Brymo, number 9 with Esan. Now, like any other Brymo album, this is an album that you have to pay your full undivided attention to in order to get the spirit of it. The album is very well sonically pleasing. It has very sing-alongable melodies and memorable choruses on this one. You can see him pour his emotions on many of the rock influenced and Yoruba vocal moments here that he has. This album is strictly in all Yoruba because they came as one half of the pair of albums that he released last year, album Hamatan and Winters, which was in English, but he decided to take a Yoruba front with this one I saw, and he was definitely much more confident on this project, much more compelling melodies, much more neat production. Like, you can hear a lot of that rock influence that really makes him stand out as one of the finest alternative acts that we have in the country. I really enjoyed this album on one listen. It has to be one of my favorites this year. A song by Brymo at number 9. Okay, no, not at number 9. At number 15, okay? Let's relax. At number 15. At number 14, Jules with Sounds of My World. I see Jules' album like a freaking family reunion of all the diasporic Africans in the world. This is an artist that really embodies so much of the Ghanaian high life in his instrumentation, and you can see that as he collaborates and he builds moments for artists that feature on this project, but still maintain the theme, still maintain the aura, the aesthetic of his sound and his identity. Very unique. Has to go down as one of my favorite producers of all time, and Sounds of My World is yet another reason to see him as that. This had dope cuts from Prettyboy DO, from Fireboy, from new artists that I came across and learned about on this project, like Nux, like Kadiata, like Sam Wise, which bodied the record wicked for me, man. They bodied that record. One of my favorite projects, man. Definitely go check it out if you haven't. At number 13, I have Ruga with the Pandemic EP. Now, this was an EP that was so disruptive, so disruptive. Once it came out, you couldn't help but notice the fear in this guy as an artist. You really have to pay attention to him for his Afro dancehall persona. Super creative and unpredictable with many of the directions he took on the songs. Still maintaining a lot of the Afro dancehall delivery that he has on trap influence beats and even like raw Afro dancehall beats, man. I really enjoyed this massive hit, Bounce. Okay, one of my favorite songs this year. At number 12, I have Black Bones. Okay, again, when it comes to theme, this was one of the most intentional concept albums that I've really seen this year. Sex Over Love by Black Bones. Not only did the rollout reflect that, but the spirit and the subject matters of the album really connects to that. This album really embodies being fearful of commitment. Sex Over Love saw Black Bones as a Nigerian rapper being very contextual with his approach of hip-hop and rap in the Nigerian space. You can definitely see him take a lot of direction sonically on this project and still making it sequence very well. I really like how they sequenced it. Very audacious in many moments. Casting a very wide net with the range of features he got from Nasty C to Buju to Amore to Joe Boy to freaking Wonder Banton to Check. I loved many of the directions he took on the songs here, and connects to the very strong theme of Sex Over Love, being fearful of commitment. I'm here for it, man. Sex Over Love by Black Bones at my number 12. Okay, at number 11, it's an album you probably didn't even listen to. R&B veteran, okay, Banky W with the Bank Statements. Now, this is an album that obviously went under the radar because the name Banky W doesn't necessarily hold the same weight that it used to, and it sucks because this was a fantastic body of work. Some of the most intentional A&R and curation that I've seen. This album plays out as Banky W's 444, if that makes sense. Obviously accepting his position now as an OG, as a veteran, trying to pass down words of wisdom and leave a legacy for himself. This is an album that does a very great and fantastic job of depicting who he is as a person right now in his life. Like, it's so self-aware. It's very like he's so conscious of where he is right now and all those layers of his identity and what means the world to him right now. He tackles on this album. You can see him talk and address himself as a father, as a husband on songs like Joe and Song for You, and you can see him address his need for social justice and the wellness of Nigerian masses, and him as a politician on songs like Talk and Do, which was an amazing, phenomenal outro. You can also see him express his journey with his faith on this project as well. So in all facets of his identity right now, this album does a 10 out of 10 fantastic job of depicting who Banky W is right now. And I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. Fantastic production, executive produced by Kpos, some of the best in the industry when it comes to very well refined engineering and production and overall orchestral concepts that you can see on this album. The use of the Lagos Community Gospel Choir on even joints like Press Restart. That outro was phenomenal on Press Restart. And you're seeing Banky W as a rapper, you're seeing Banky W as a gospel artist, you're seeing Banky W as an R&B legend. On paper, if I told you I was getting an R&B artist, a rapper, and a gospel artist in the same space, it would sound chaotic, but somehow he made all of those fragments of his musicality work so well on this project, and I really, really was impressed with this project, man. At number 10, ladies and gentlemen, I have the African boyfriend himself, Ckay, with the Boyfriend EP. Where can I start with this album? Well, go check out my review if you haven't. At number 9, I have the second wave of the pandemic. I have Ruga with the second wave. Go check out my review on this, man. This album is super exciting. This EP rather is super exciting. Four strong tracks that really see Ruga double down on what his talent really is capable of, his abilities as an artist. You really ought to take him seriously as an artist by now at this point with this EP. Straight fire production with Cook's beats, and it shows the chemistry that they both have. At number 8, taking it to Ghana, M.anifest with Madina to the Universe. If you guys don't know M.anifest is one of my favorite rappers, super articulate with his rapping. The infusion of Ghanaian highlife in many of his joints are so well done. I really appreciate the storytelling that he does, and the creation of features here were brilliant. I really enjoyed the moment from Adekunle Gold, the moment from Ladipo, the moment from Vic Mensa. This was a strong body of work that I really enjoyed from M.anifest. Super articulate with his lines, man. Super creative with his bars. Definitely a strong project that I really, really appreciated. At number 8, speaking of Ghana, at number 7, I have Brymo Esan with Road to Rastafari. Now, you guys are probably thinking I'm out here paying my Ghana tax because of the uproar and conversations about Nigeria and Ghana in the last couple of months. But fashion all of that, these were albums that I've listened to regardless of any rivalry. Because I still very much pay attention to the Ghana scene, and I take the albums that I really, really enjoyed out of this. But Brymo Esan, Road to Rastafari. Brymo Esan, if you've really, really followed his journey as an artist, you really, really know and appreciate that every other release is better than the last one. And I feel like all roads led to a moment like this, because this is his debut full-length EP, Road to Rastafari. He's an artist, I would say, like, I can consider his sound like a pop trap type of sound. Super dynamic, very like high energy trap moments that still have very commercial and strong replay value to them. Super melodic on many of his rap verses, and very memorable hooks too. He knows how to write hooks. Road to Rastafari kind of documented a lot of his experience as an up and coming act and trying to fight his way through the scene and earn his respect as an artist. Had a strong moment with Be Like Me on one of my live streams. Everybody loved that joint. But I think he's having a moment right now with the song Until I See You, Anopa 222 with Stiti Owusu. It's a very straight, infectious song right there, man. And I really enjoy this project. So dense, super dense, no fats around it, very straight to the point. Every record has a strong replay value, man. It's super high energy, great hooks, Really love the songwriting on this. And Brymo Esan is an artist you definitely have to have on your radar, man. At number 6, I had to take it back to SARS, but this time around with Lil J with Love and Attention. This album is pretty self-explanatory, man. I think it's really clear what Lil J and SARS created with this project. Super dynamic Afropop, straight bangers, okay? Lil J with some of the wittiest and most clever songwriting you can see from a pop act. Lines like "She win the ass chick Ballon d'Or can never walk away from my vocabulary." This is definitely one of my favorite projects this year, and it goes without saying, man. Honestly goes without saying. All right, at number 5, we're getting very close. Getting very close. At number 5, I have Bado himself with UI Skitty. Now, UI Skitty is an album that saw Bado evolve, or at least double down on the sentiment and the preparation that we've gotten from Carpe Diem. This is an album that doesn't really set out to be chaotic. It's really driven by a lot of his melodies. He's doing a lot more singing here than he has ever done on any project. Really tackled a lot of dancehall moments here. You can see him introduce a lot of new faces on the Afrobeat scene, like J Wills, like Fave, who's having a phenomenal run right now, and Lado, who's a phenomenal dancehall act to look out for. And you can see him really tackle a lot of those sounds sonically, and it just really hurts that this album came very soon after Carpe Diem, and right after dropping this album, and it goes back on a tour of Carpe Diem, and it almost neglects the album, which is so tragic in my view. I still want him to come back to this album, give some remixes, make some videos for some of them. These were dope cuts there that I really believe don't deserve to be left out to dry. UI Skitty was a dope sequenced album, and I really enjoyed it from top to bottom. At number 4, we're getting close. My hardest rap album this year, I have AQ with Golden. Now, this album, I have my review in the chambers. I'm about to release it. In a nutshell, I see this album to be up there with Falz's Moral Instruction and SDC's These Buhari Times for albums that serve as a time capsule of Nigerian social and political context. Like, it really does a good job in documenting so much around Nigerian politics, and so, like, it's a social commentary that really does well, and you can see AQ do that with brilliant punchlines and metaphors, and super creative and very assertive and confident in his delivery, very well refined and polished, as opposed to the scanty delivery that we've seen in his past history. But then again, AQ is definitely my favorite rapper last year, and with this project, and not to even talk about the cypher, but man, I really enjoyed this album. Look out for the actual full-length review, because I really need to put that joint out. It was so fun getting to listen to this project, and I really enjoyed it. And it has to earn its way. Definitely has to earn its way in my top 5. And at my number 4 spot, though, Golden by AQ. At number 3, people have already come for me on this album. When I talk about this album, people came for me for my review on this album. But Peruzzi, Rum and Boogie is one of the best albums out in 2021. Though you can't tell me nothing. I know the argument that's been used against this album is it's dated, and 2, it's also bloated. It has 20 tracks. So why are we listening to 20 tracks? I'll give you that. To be honest, I could knock those 2 arguments with one concept that this album really achieves for me. This album serves as an evolutionary timeline of Nigerian pop music. Like, if you really go down the sequence of this album, early 2000, like contour Nigerian pop sounds, and you can see it evolve into, like, say, mid 2008 Mohit influence type of Afro pop, and can see it roll down all the way down to I'm a Piano, and it just sounds like a very well refined timeline. To be honest, I can't even confirm to you that was Peruzzi's intention, but the album definitely does well serve as that. You can see Peruzzi as easily one of the best songwriters in the pop scene that we do know. So when it comes to Nigerian pop music, the quintessential delivery of Nigerian pop music, you can see him pay homage to all those sounds and all those eras of Nigerian music. And you can see that with the 2-disc album that had a theme of Rum, which was supposed to be much more romantic and much more sentimental direction. And you can see Boogie being about dance and party moments. And this entire album, top to bottom, it's a vibe for me. It's like a live show. It's a live show that I don't end up skipping. Every time I'm listening to this album, I go down the rabbit hole of listening to every other song in the right sequence, because this album was super intentional about the sequencing. If you haven't seen my review, man, definitely go check it out. Now, as we're about to get into number 2 and number 1, honestly, they could damn near be tied for me. My number 1 slightly edged my number 2 on some points, okay? Slightly, very slightly, very, very slightly. But I have to go ahead and do it. For my 2021 top 50 albums and my number 2 place, I have to give it to The Cavemen with Love and High Life. I'm already a sucker for Cavemen, if you haven't noticed at this point. They were number 2 last year and they're number 2 again. But this number 2, they almost became number 1. Trust me, they almost became number 1. Not only did he like double down on the identity of roots, which really saw the Cavemen, 2 brothers that really carved their lane for themselves in the Nigerian industry as the resurgence of raw, authentic, vocal Eastern high life from like the 80s and from the early 60s, and really bring it to today and really refine it in a fashion that honestly makes them stand out without any doubt. Not only them doubling down on this, but you can see them even collaborate more and still keep it in the same vein. Taking a lot more risks sonically. The drums, the instrumentation on this album is super advanced and like so well done that this album just feels like a jam session, which really is how many of their songs feel. It feels like a jam session where they really evoke on the call and response that they have about their songs, and they're super easy to go with, very, very catchy, super melodic. You're singing along. I'm not promising I'm gonna have a review out for this, but this album definitely has to be my top 2 albums. Number 1 edged over time. Number 1 for 2021 this time around, ladies and gentlemen, Ayra, Starr with 19 and Dangerous. This is an album. Having a strong overarching theme. She checked this very well. Really audacious directions and songwriting that she took here. 19 and Dangerous was very well evident as a theme on this. You can see how really documents an era for Nigerian music, really, with this album. Honestly, with this album earning away as one of the faces of Gen Z right now. Vocally speaking, she's definitely one of the finest in the country. The dexterity is it's just not even fair. Like seeing how much range she has as a vocalist and how she expressed that on trap beats, on R&B ballads, on Afropop bangers. Come on. Like, come on. The very well refined production, the mixing on this was very well done. The overall packaging, the brand, the statement this album is making is loud. Okay, the statement this album is making is loud, and I love the confidence. I love the assertiveness that she oozes on this album. Very well refined, man. And for a debut album to be my album of the year, it says a lot. Well, actually, last year, Ckay's Boo of the Bullets was the debut album. But yeah, still, this is my best album this year, man. This is my album of the year. I went back to it. Obviously, when I was making down this list, I already registered a lot of my ratings throughout the year, and I come back at the end of the year to sort them based on the ratings I assigned to them. But obviously I have to re-listen to many of the key albums that really defined this year and for me, and I really had to go back to this one to really delve into what this album was trying to achieve, and I think it really did a fantastic job at achieving that for me. I really loved the joints with CK. I really loved the ballads like In Between. I really loved the cast Gen Z anthem. Like really great moments from a songwriting standpoint, from a production standpoint, from a vocal technical standpoint. Like, come on, I really love this album. It has to go down with my favorite album this year. Album of the year for me, Ayra, Starr, 19 and Dangerous. Check out the review if you haven't. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. That was my album list this year, 2021. Let me know what were your top 5 in the comment section. I know the violence that this list will still cause. It comes with every list I make. Of course, if you're new to this channel, please do well to hit the thumbs up. It's not easy. I'm looking forward to 2022 and what the album culture has to offer for Nigerian music. I'm excited, man, and thank you so much for watching. I've been your boy Mana, aka Papi. See you guys on the next one. Peace.